Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Troy.
And I'm Ben-Jamin Toy.
We're broadcasting from the Cohesion Culture headquarters in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina, where even when it rains, the sun still shines.
You're going to hear real-time stories from leaders confessing their most crucial or recent experiences in business.
Learn what their cost them, steps they took to fix it, and how they planned
to not do that one again. All right. Welcome, emerging cohesive leaders. Ben-Jamin here with Dr. Troy. And today we have the privilege of being joined with Katie Blomquist with Going Places, a friend that I have developed over almost a decade. So excited. We are so excited for you to be here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here too.
Awesome.
And Katie is quite a personality in Charleston and has a tremendous background of information that we're going to get to. But one of the first things we like to do is just learn something about you that most people wouldn't know. And so sometimes we ask it and say, tell us something about yourself that's not on your resume, or maybe you've written out in social media before. So I don't know, we're going to give that really just a lot of free reign to you. What's something that you'd like for people to know about you?
I mean, if people would like to know about me, or fun facts no one knows about me.
Well, let's go with fun. Yeah, fun facts.
I mean, just fun facts, random things. I've never been stung by a bee. I've never broken a bone. Those are just kind of random. I went to high school with Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. Those are also random fun facts.
Yeah, and you have something about penchant for reading. There's a certain type of literature I think you read.
Yes, I never read actually for, decades. I was absolutely reading's just never been my thing. And so even before podcasts, I would be on, I'd say, don't ask me what my favorite book is because I don't read. Now I do. It's a new thing I picked up a year ago. I read, I think, 110 books last year from mid-February through the end of the year, all audio, but Oprah says that still counts as reading. So I still count it as reading. But I am really into thriller books, psychological thrillers, but very like juvenile ones. I don't like a million characters, a million, character development and details. I want right to the point, few minimal characters, a page turner right away, or I have no problem clicking return and returning before I finish it. It's got to grab my attention right away. And then podcasts, same realm. I love the true crime podcasts, but the kind that are right to the point. I don't want any extra chit chat with the, podcaster's opinion. I want just the facts of the story.
Got it.
Now, what are the benefits that you've seen from adding 110 books into your life? Like, what have you seen as a person from consuming that much content?
I mean, this isn't really developmental content since they're just, nonfiction crime books, but I watch TV less. I mean, I don't know if that's negative or positive.
I would say that's a positive for most folks. I mean, some people, less screen time. Now, so the question is, are you doing other things while you're listening, or are you somehow able to focus just on the audio book when you're sitting down?
I never just sit down and listen to it. I only listen to it when I'm doing something. So it gets me to like empty my dishwasher, put away my laundry, because I'm like, oh, well, what can I do to listen to my book? Because I'm really into it, and I'll do more chores. Or in the car, I'm really excited to like put on my books. I don't mind driving like a distance now, where before it's like, now I'm like, oh, I get to listen to my book. So
I would say that's a big benefit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I actually, and I'm slightly different on that aspect. I actually don't read many fiction at all, and I do a lot of audiobooks. I go more on the business, motivational, self-help side of it. But what I found, to your point of the driving aspect of things, I love road trips because you get to get this content in, and it actually feels like it goes faster, because subconsciously when you're listening to music, they're every 3 minutes, every 5 minutes. So you subconsciously are chicken down the times of how long you're actually on the road. But when you're engaged in content, it's been an hour, 2 hours. before you even realize that time has passed.
And did you just say
Definitely.
chicken
I
down?
said chicken.
You said chicken
I
down.
said chicken down.
Chicken down. Wait a minute. That was an uh-oh.
Or it's a new lexicon.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So we're going to click down here. So Katie, we want to know, tell us a little bit more about you, and then we're going to launch into your uh-oh experience. So we want to know a little bit about not just necessarily the roles that you play, because we know that you are a tremendous leader in going places, a very highly thought after nonprofit group, does great work for children. So we know a little bit about that, but also a little bit about who you are as the person.
So you want to know about how I started going? I guess I'm confusing the question.
We want more of your identity of who you are. What are your behaviors and character traits? So people know you, Katie. Outside of any roles or hats you have, who are you?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Like what I like to do. I guess I'm very confused on what you want to say.
That's okay. And here's where I guess the thing that we like to help people understand is by the response to that question, that means a role, your profession has become somewhat of your identity.
Mm-hmm.
And we want, so in my case, I want to be known as a kind, adventurous, life-loving person, right? That I want to be known for my character traits, not any roles I have. Not that
Right.
I'm a husband, that I'm a friend or a brother or a son. Those are roles. Those are hats we have. And we can perform differently based on those, but it doesn't change who we are as a person. So, who is, when somebody they're describing you outside of going places, what do they describe, or what do you want them to describe you as?
I see what you mean now. Okay. Yeah, I like to think that I'm a really good friend. People always say I'm someone that always shows up whenever, it's their kid's birthday or it's their whatever is going on. I always show up. I always remember dates. If it's the anniversary of someone's parents' death, I always remember it and I message them. So I remember like the I guess it's like the little things, but they're the big things, for people. I have been told I keep my friends very entertained. I have a kind of I say obscene personality, just kind of like a 14-year-old boy. Like I'm always just saying funny, random things or just things that maybe people are thinking but don't say, I say out loud. So I tend to keep people entertained. I think I would like to think I bring a certain energy to any group that I'm in, no matter it be professionally or with friends. And, I remember when I sat down with the mayor to talk about Mayor Tuckenberg, when I first started going places, he was like, your energy just talking about this makes me want to just like get up and go do something. So I like to think that no matter where I am, I'm bringing a excited energy. I'm kind of excited about what's going on with life. And I have one friend that whenever I'm just kind of not in a bad mood, but just quieter, he's like, what's wrong? This is not how you normally are. You're usually like the biggest, personality in the room. I'm like, I'm fine. I just, in this moment, I'm not loud. So I like to think that that's kind of who I am.
I see that in you because like Ben, maybe almost a decade with, spending time with you in various events and mastermind classes and things that we've attended together. I would say that about you. You are an energy person, and I can see that. And I'm really glad that you brought that forward and didn't leave that hidden. I think that's important. I mean, sometimes people get so wrapped up in the jobs that they're doing that they forget to celebrate who they are as a person. And I think that wittiness that you have and all of that is really awesome. So continue to keep being that because it works for you.
I'm going to bring up another personal fact that I'm going to ask, and you can decline to go down this road if you don't want to, but you have a certain interesting energy surrounding a certain fast food chain. Care to enlighten?
Yes,
which one is it?
Taco Bell. I absolutely love it. I have an Instagram handle, Saved by the Taco Bell, like Saved by the Bell, Saved by the Taco Bell. It started when I was in high school, my friends and I would always go get Taco Bell late night. And I just have the best memories of sitting around, no matter whose house we were at, the kitchen table, eating Taco Bell at 4 a.m. And it'd be my dad or someone else's dad would always come in the kitchen and be like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, eating Taco Bell. And it's just the funny, like, it just was such great memories of that. And it's just, you can find a Taco Bell no matter where you are. So I've always had it from high school through college, all the different states I've lived in. And it's just so good. That's the other thing. Their breakfast is the best kept secret out there. People are stunned at how good it is. And I started this Taco Bell Instagram account, and it's basically just me eating Taco Bell.
And what's really exciting about this is that anyone who has followed The Demolition Man, that particular movie, will know that the winning restaurant chain
of the franchise wars.
The franchise wars was Taco Bell.
And I love that. See, I love that. So for folks who don't know, most folks do know that there's a generation between Troy and I, and
don't let the hair color fool you.
And that my brain was right going to that one. It's like so folks that have any type of thoughts about Taco Bell, they win the franchise wars.
Yes,
and they are amazing. An AM Crunch Wrap, oh my gosh!
Okay, so we need to.
Okay, we'll go
so
back.
We're having like our own moment here.
I don't know.
But Katie, we would like you to share now with us a little bit about an Uh-Oh experience, something that our listeners can learn from. We're speaking to individuals who are sometimes dissatisfied at their work because they're not getting the training and development they need. They're being passed over for promotion. They have no plan for improvement. And this podcast gives them a chance to mentor through mistakes or mishaps, things that may not have gone exactly the way the leader had intended. And so it's our opportunity to explore that. So if you could just set the stage for us about what that Uh-Oh experience would be, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I've of course had many Uh-Ohs in my years, 8 years of running Going Places, especially. But the one that I think was the biggest light bulb moment of like, oh my, I was looking at a situation completely backwards. And so for instance, we have a company that gives us a space to build our bikes in, and it's in the middle of their, work day. There's employees all around us, and they create this 10,000 square foot space for us to build our bikes in. And it's, disruptive to their day. We're there for multiple days, and they've gone above and beyond to help us. I mean, it's probably been 5-6 years now. And one of the higher up people that works there came up to me and was like, how come the owner was wondering why you never send him a sponsorship packet, like for your bike reveals or for your gala? And I said, well, he does so much for us already. I didn't want to overstep. I didn't want to offend him. Like, hey, you already do so much. I'm going to ask for more. That to me, we're all raised like, don't over ask. It'll be offensive, and be grateful for what you get. So I had that mentality with the charity. And he's like, no, it's almost opposite. He's more almost offended you haven't asked him. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so he's like, just ask. And I just realized, oh my gosh, just ask. I was actually just had a coaching session with a consultant before this podcast. And she was like, the number one reason nonprofits don't get funding is because they don't ask. Oh, I'm probably not going to get it from there. It's too big of it's this or that. And so they don't even ask. And then of course you don't get it. So I realized just make the ask. It's not personal if they say no. It's not like I'm saying, give me money for me. It's not about me. So you remove yourself from the situation. It's about the product. It's about the nonprofit. It's about whatever it is you're doing. And the worst they can say is no. And then you're like, okay, cool. I'm glad I asked. Thanks. Is there a reason why? No. So that's the other thing, is always asking, like if we get turned down for like a grant or something, I always ask, why is it the no? So I can correct for next time. But with this I realized I was trying not to be offensive, and it ended up being offensive because I wasn't asking.
Yeah. And I think what I love about the way you presented that story was like a mind shift. And it's for people to think through. Like I had a mentor one time tell me that basically what you expressed was that if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Mhm.
And by putting it out there is important to gain insight and to gain information. So, in thinking about this, how would you relate that if it wasn't for a company? Like if you wanted to ask your, and I know it's been a while since you've had a supervisor because of your, your business, but when you did, think back and wonder, like, what were some things that you could have asked that you didn't?
I mean, I'm always a big asker. I've always, if anything, become annoying. I ask so many questions back when I worked in the corporate world because my theory is I'd rather be annoying and ask too many questions than assume and do it wrong and then get in trouble. I think that looks worse than not than being annoying because you ask so many questions. And so I would say always ask. Find someone to, maybe it's another employee that's been there longer than you that you can kind of build a relationship with almost as like a mentor. So you're not always going to your supervisor, but you're going to a more experienced equal who can help you. And I'm sure they want to help you grow unless, it's like a competitive environment. But I think just asking if, you know, ask for constructive criticism, constructive feedback, and showing interest in doing better is always going to get you further than keeping your mouth quiet and potentially coming off as doing the bare minimum or doing something wrong or uninterested.
And what's really interesting about this explanation, because I really wanted to draw a contrast to it, because I sort of felt like you were an individual who would put yourself out there. Again, that energy level you have, the friendliness you have, like you're not afraid to make those connections and to do that in a work environment, you would ask. And so the interesting thought is when it came to the business portion, because you had another layer of influence, which was, I don't want it to seem like I'm too pushy. I don't want to be perceived in a different way for that, was in contrast to the way you normally approach things. So it's interesting how that showed up.
Yeah.
And I love, go ahead.
Say, because one is like asking for help me be better. And the other one's like, give me money, give me. And the thing is with a nonprofit is whatever you're giving me, you're getting nothing in return except a good feeling and a tax receipt. You're not getting this like product back. You're not walking. It's not like, hey, I'm trying to sell you my product and you're going to go home with it and be happy. It's just like, hey, give me $10,000, give me 10,000 square feet, and so that's when it becomes like this panic feeling inside. Because, just as a kid, you're brought up being like, don't ask for too much. Like becomes off as greedy. And so it's switching that mindset with a nonprofit. It's not greedy. It's like, let me give you an opportunity to be part of something amazing. And we're going to promote your company also. I mean, you do get that back. You get with a sponsorship, position, you do get advertising back. But yeah, it's just shifting that whole mindset.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, I'm going to, when I was in the event world, 15 years ago, I went to a conference and I heard, so I'd love your thoughts on this. I've heard that there are 4 reasons a business will sponsor an event that's tied to a nonprofit. Number 1 is for the branding and marketing that comes with it. And that is the first motivation for why they would sponsor an event. 2 is for community involvement, to be seen around the community doing something. 3 is the affinity for the cause, meaning that the actual end result is something they support and that's what motivates them. But, some people, that's their motive, but for the majority, that's third on the list. And number 4 is they're doing it as a favor to the producer, right? What have you seen? And this is not meant to be a marketing talk, but I just wanted to understand that people have different motivations. So understanding that ask could be a good reason for those questions.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, a lot of our sponsors, gala attendees are people in my personal network that I know who want to support me, want to help. They've gotten to know, trust, and like me, and therefore going places because, we're kind of interchangeable now over the past 8 years. So that's definitely a big piece. I have shown for 8 years, I can, we've given over, I think it's 5,160 some bikes in 8 years. So every year we do this over and over and bigger and give more bikes. So I've proven myself to people that I can do this and their money is going to be trusted with us. So that's a big thing. You know, that's what's hard for new nonprofits is they haven't proven themselves yet. So who wants to write a $10,000 check to someone that hasn't proven that they can do anything with it? So I've earned the trust. And what we see is people really want to sponsor like the cool stuff, like the things that are photographable. Our galas, we were nominated for Best Party in Charleston a couple years ago and Best Fundraising Event, 2 separate things. Best Party, not even charity related, because our gala is so much fun. It's not like typical galas. A lot of interactive entertainment, lots of photograph opportunities, really fun. And so there's a lot of cool things you can sponsor. So people want to have their logo on these cool things. And people also want tickets to the event. That was the other big thing is most people want the tickets that comes with it. So those what we found as our biggest, you know, things we include. We always include social media, but it's not like we have, you know, 100,000 followers. So it's not, that isn't always even that big of a deal, but it helps. It's just they want to sponsor the cool things that everyone's going to take photos of, put on their social media, because that, you know, is hundreds of views, thousands of views. And then the tickets are kind of the 2 biggest things they want, the with them, what's in it for me.
That ties it into, for me, asking the questions. When you find out what the motivations are and all that, you can give a different response based on the things that they're looking to get from that. So the questions give self-discovery when you're figuring it out, but also just general discovery. That means you're not going to have any ambiguity left and the unknowns.
Right. And I think what's also I'm hearing from this is that when you're asking, like you're asking for help or you're asking for a donation, either way, it is about furthering something that's even bigger than you are. So even though you're asking about your own job and you want to know more to learn about it, you really are prepping not only for yourself for growth, development, and advancement, but for helping to move the company forward. Because the more trained and developed that you are, the better you can be to do that. And the same thing works true for a company or an industry that is going to partner in a nonprofit organization to help support it. Is all of this all relates very nicely together. So this has really been a great way to think about the ask conversation, how you prepare your mind for it, how you can sometimes shift your mindset to a place where you can get a more impactful result out of it. And part of it is just not holding back and knowing your audience and moving forward.
And like with all O's, there is a cost associated with it. So the not asking the business owner for the financial piece, what did it cost you and or the organization?
Yeah, I mean, you can potentially miss out on thousands of dollars. So it's,
I don't want to say potential. I want to look at what do you feel that you actually lost or missed out on by not asking?
Oh, I mean, whatever amount they would have come in at the gala, it could have been 5,000, 2,500. It could have been a title sponsorship. I mean, I don't know because I didn't ask, you know.
Gotcha.
So, you never know what they're going to come in at and who they may bring, and you know, when they come at these higher levels, they get a table included in their sponsorship, and usually, you know, they're bringing other business people, and those are usually people at tables are the ones that spend a lot of money in the auction. And then someone from that table may be so blown away that they want to be a sponsor next year. And so you never know who you're missing out on just exposure wise.
Now, so do you have you worked that conversation out for the next gala or for the next reveal and everything?
Not yet, but I've started the conversation, but nothing's like happened yet.
Okay. Well, at least at least the conversation's happening.
Oh,
well, I think it's being sensitive to it.
Yeah.
So the fact is that you're not going to abandon the concept that you brought into it, that exterior influence that says, I want to be humble about this. I don't want to be pushy. I want to make sure that you're supporting it for the right reason. But the really cool thing is you can now really craft your conversation around a question that allows for self-discovery. And so instead of just posing the question like, would you be interested in sponsoring the going places? But you could say, if you were to sponsor, what would that look like? What would be some of the reasons that you would want to engage with us through a sponsorship? And that gives them an opportunity to say yes or no without them being put on the spot. Because if we ask the question, would you be, then the likelihood is, and they say no, there's no place to go. Even though you said it's great to have a no, but there's still no place to go. But if you're asking for more detailed information, then you get that self-discovery before you have to actually fine-tune into what you're doing.
I was recently involved in a conversation of an event that I'm sponsoring in a different area, and that conversation got had. And my version of what a sponsorship looked like was not anything on their checklist. So they were able to be customized for my needs to get our services. And so that allows for something unique to happen that everybody can be happy with.
Yep, we do that. We last year our levels were only customizable, and we found people didn't want that. They were more like, I just want to see the levels. Like I don't have time to sit and chat, but just tell me what to pick from. So now we tell that we created the levels based on what people have seemed to like, but we always say these are not set in stone. These can be altered. If something doesn't mean anything to you and you don't want it, we'll take it out and we'll put in something you do want, as long as it's appropriate for that level they're at. And so we definitely give them the option. But whenever I do a reach out, it's usually to people I know. I don't usually just do blind reach outs because that's going to get you nowhere. Typically, you got to kind of know someone who believes in you already. And when I don't say, hey, here's the sponsorship packet, I point out some key things that I think might be important to them and say, hey, if you notice in this level, you're going to get this and this. And in this level, you're going to get this. Keep in mind, this level includes a table of 8. Like I make sure to point out key things and say, but I've attached the packet for you to review everything. But I do like to point out when I go into the ask with things I think that they will like and be excited by.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
So I know, Katie, you prepared for this very well. We sent you out some questions ahead of time just to get your brain thinking. So we just like to ask you, and don't feel like you've been put on the spot for anything, but is there a question, or better yet, what was the question you thought we might ask that we haven't asked you yet?
I don't know if I have. I guess every podcast has different questions, so I don't know. I don't really have. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't anticipate anything really in general.
I know, and that's your free spirit, and that's the energy. That's the whole free spirit that she's been talking about the whole time. Is like, yeah, she shows up, does whatever needs to happen, and moves on with it.
I don't mentally prepare much. I just show up and see what you ask me.
Okay, great. All right. So before we close out, though, we would like to just have you give an opportunity for people to understand Going Places. So if you could just sort of explain about Going Places, and also if people would like to connect with you, how can they do that?
Sure. So Going Places provides every single child at once in the low-income elementary schools with the brand new custom bike, lock, helmet, and bike pump. So we're not just giving, a couple bikes here or there. We're giving 400, 600 bikes at once. And we do that by fundraising year round. We have hundreds of volunteers that come together. It's usually November, December timeframe. We build all the bikes in a day or two. Then the very next day with, tons more volunteers, we go to the school, we unload all the bikes in the parking lot, cover them with huge tarps. The entire school comes outside. Usually the media's there, the mayor's there, chief of police is there, school superintendent. It's a massive, massive event. And we say a few words in the microphone, and then we pull the tarps up and reveal to the kids, that's why I call the bike reveal, that today they're getting a brand new bike to take home. This is not for the school, it's for you, which is something I feel like they don't always get. It's like, oh, this is for the school. It's like, no, this is you. The school is our route to you. And it's all about the social emotional health that joy brings to a child. It's not about the bike. It's about what the bike represents. So, that's why it's not a hoverboard or video game or whatever is trendy in the moment. It's about this classic childhood joy, and that a bike can instill a sense of ownership over something of value. A lot of these kids don't have anything like that. It's a sense of freedom and escape from an unpredictable home life. It's a sense of restored innocence. Think about when you last got on a bike, you kind of feel like a kid for a minute. But at the end of the day, it's classic joy. And most charities, when they, focus on the basic needs of like food, clothing, water, shelter, health, like all that kind of stuff, which is great. People should still give to those things. But we forget that social emotional health is a basic need too in creating the type of person we are as an adult, whether you've had a positive social emotional development as a child or not, can really affect who you become as an adult. And children living in poverty tend to stay within a few miles of the radius of where they grew up. So, which means they're going to stay in our community and be members of our community. So if we can have an impact now in who they, in developing that positive social emotional health, and that, I think that's very important.
Yeah, and I really love what you guys do and the program. And of course, there's a whole bunch of backstory as to how I got started for you that Ben and I know about, but we don't have time on the podcast to share. For me, the bike is kind of like the joy I get from the freedom. So I get freedom on a bike where I wouldn't have it normally. I'd be restricted, but I can actually go places, which is why it's such a perfect name for the business. So how can people get in touch with you?
They can find us at goingplacesnonprofit.org. Our social media on Instagram, it's going_places_nonprofit. And on Facebook, it's Going Places Nonprofit. Or they can email me. It's katie@goingplacesnonprofit.org.
Super. That's really great. So Katie, we really appreciate you being here. And Ben, I'm going to see if you have something that you want to say before we close out.
I just love the relationship, and I am grateful that you are here and doing the good things, because that's when we connected. It was about being outdoors and that joy, which is something that I have a lot of passion with. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep up the good work. And as we close with all of our cohesive programs, it's with this simple mantra: you don't have to know everything.
You just need to be teachable.